Hi everyone, it's Tuesday, May 12th. I have to keep telling myself the date. It's so easy to forget when we're not in the classroom. So yeah, it is Tuesday, May 12th, 2020, and we are on day 2 of Reptile Week. So today we are going to be comparing and contrasting reptiles with amphibians. They can be easily confused because they do have a lot of similarities. So we'll be making a Venn diagram. So all you'll need today is something to write with and some paper. But first, we are going to learn a little bit more about reptiles. I have a PowerPoint to share with you on their life cycle, because it is actually quite different from the life cycle of an amphibian. So here we go. Nope, not this one. Stop the share. Here we go. All right. Let's see if I can move my face. Did that work? Okay. So we're starting just by comparing the life cycle. And how are amphibian and reptile life cycles the same and different? Well, you can see in this picture, the one with the arrows that says alligator life cycle, you can see that the alligator does start with eggs, just like our frogs and toads did, and all other amphibians. But they look different, don't they? They're actually a harder shell, whereas the amphibians had the soft eggs. Remember, the frogs had kind of an egg mass, where toads had the chains of eggs, but they were very soft. Alligators breathe air their whole life, so there's no changing form, right? The amphibians have 2 lives. They start in the water with gills to breathe in the water, and then as they develop and mature into an adult, they grow lungs. So that is one very big difference between reptiles and amphibians. And you can see in the life cycle, they go from the egg to a baby to an adult. There was a lot more changes with amphibians. When we did the frog life cycle, we saw they went from an egg mass to a tadpole to a froglet and then to an adult frog. So very different there. Also, amphibians, they start their lives in the water, then they mostly live on land. Reptiles mostly live on land their whole life, with some exceptions. There are some that do live in the water. Okay. Oh, so here we can see the frog life cycle again. And they added more stages in there. So let's take a look. All right, let's start with the egg mass. Then we move on to the tadpole. From the tadpole, we get a tadpole with 2 legs. Their back ones come out first. And then the front ones pop out. And their body kind of gets longer. We get to the froglet, which almost looks like a frog, but it does have that long tail. And then finally that adult frog, which will go on to produce more eggs, and the life cycle will continue. Okay. Now the alligator life cycle, again, we see that hard shell. We see the baby hatching, right? And the egg cracks. It turns into a baby. I guess it starts as a baby. And then it becomes an adult. Okay, so using that information, we're now going to do a Venn diagram. So you need a blank piece of paper, And on the top, we're going to call it reptiles versus amphibians because we are comparing the two. Just like this. You want it all the way at the top so you have room for your Venn diagram. And I'm going to start by making a big circle over here. And then I'll do another one on the right side and make sure that there's some overlap in the middle. Just like this. And then I'm going to label each section. So at the top, I'll write reptiles. Again, I'll underline it, both with an underline, and then amphibians. So underlined. Okay. If you need time, go ahead and pause. And we're going to move on in 3, 2, 1. Okay. Let's take a look at the PowerPoint I made. Not that one. I have to open up a new one. Just a minute. There we go. All this technology. Still figuring it all out. Okay, reptiles versus amphibians. Okay, so the first thing we're going to write is have lungs their whole life. So which one has lungs their whole life? Right? Well, hopefully you remember from our frogs and toads, they start with gills. So it's not amphibians, it is reptiles, right? They are born with lungs. Amphibians are born with gills. So do a little bullet point right at the top of your circle, right under reptiles, right? You want to leave yourself plenty of room. There's an alligator, right? So even though a lot of reptiles can swim in the water, they still have lungs. That means they need to come up for air. They cannot breathe underwater. Okay. Make sure you get that down. I'm going to be moving on. Let's go to the next slide. Pause if you need to. Okay. All right, babies start with gills. Okay, you should know this. Say it out loud. Amphibians. And there we go. In the picture, you can see the external gills on a salamander. They kind of pop out from his body. Okay. If you need more time, pause. I'm going to move on. Hey, hatch from eggs. What do you think? It's both. It's both. They both hatch from eggs. So again, make sure you're writing nice and small at the tops of your sections. And here we see the soft eggs and the hard eggs. So even though their eggs look different, they both do hatch from eggs. Except from snakes, remember, they give birth to live young. Some snakes. Okay, next one. Hatch from a hard shell, reptiles. Sorry, I didn't give you time to guess that one. My finger was too fast. Okay, so reptiles hatch from a hard shell. Those look like baby alligators or crocodiles. You know, I'm really bad at telling the difference, but we're going to go over that later in the week. We'll learn how to tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile. Okay, so which ones hatch from soft eggs? Well, if reptiles have hard shells, we know amphibians have these soft eggs. And these look like frog eggs. They're in an egg mass, whereas the toads had the egg chains. Okay, going to move on. Pause if you need to. Okay. Lay eggs in clusters. Oh, you know what? Don't write this. This is from my old PowerPoint. It didn't get deleted. Moving on. Okay, vertebrates. That would be both. Remember, a vertebrate is when you have a backbone. And in this picture, we see the snake, the fish, and the mammal. They are all vertebrates. The only group we've talked about that's not a vertebrate is insects. Insects have an exoskeleton. So it's almost like their skeleton is on the outside. It's their hard covering. So both are vertebrates. Okay, next one. Dry, scaly skin. Reptiles. Okay, next one. Moist, smooth skin. Oh, dang it. My fingers are too fast again. All right, so you probably saw that. It is amphibians. Here's a cute frog. You can really see his skin is nice and smooth. No scales. Hopefully you wrote that down. I'm going to move on. Cold-blooded. What do you think? Where are we going to write cold-blooded? It's both. They're both cold-blooded. Okay. Go ahead, finish writing that. moving on. Oh, yeah, just a reminder, cold-blooded animals have a body temperature that changes. It depends on whether it's cold or hot outside. If it's cold, the body temperature will go down. If it's hot, the body temperature will go up. When we are warm-blooded, our body temperature stays mostly the same. Even if we're sick and have a fever, it only goes up a few degrees. Okay, which ones breathe with lungs? Both. Reptiles breathe with lungs their whole lives. Amphibians start with gills, but then they get lungs. So they both can breathe with lungs, or do at some point in their lives. Okay. There we go. You can see the amphibian lungs on the left, and the reptile lungs are over here on the right. And then on the right side, this shows a picture of more reptilian lungs. It looks like this is in maybe a tortoise. You can see the lungs under the shell. Pretty big. Huh. Hopefully you got that. Moving on now. Okay, examples are snakes, alligators, and lizards. See, are those reptiles or amphibians? Reptiles. And here's some more pictures of reptiles. There's a snake, an iguana, a chameleon, a turtle. Okay, if you need more time to write that, go ahead and pause. I'm gonna move on. Okay, examples are toads, frogs, and salamanders. Amphibians. Okay, I'm gonna move on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think this is the last one. Which ones start their lives in water, then live on land? Amphibians. Reptiles mostly live on land. There are some that will live in the water, but it's not like the amphibians that have the 2 lives. They start with gills and then develop lungs. Oh yeah, here's a frog going through its life. And you can see it's living in the water where it says A and B. And then as it becomes a froglet, it transitions from water to land. And that's it. Let me put that back up for you, just in case you need more time to finish writing. Pause if you need to. Okay. So that is it for today. What you're going to do is take a picture of your completed Venn diagram, and you're going to upload it on Class Dojo under the Portfolios tab, and you'll upload it under Reptiles versus Amphibians, just like our title. You should have time to go into typing.com or typingclub.com. Remember, a little practice every day will really get you typing great. So yeah, have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully you'll be able to make it to our Wednesday Zoom. It's going to be at 10, just for this week. Every other week will be on Tuesday. But yeah, I have some fun things planned. We're going to do a scavenger hunt. We might do some Mad Libs. We'll do something called a mystery bag, and then maybe some art or mystery science. We'll see what we have time for. So yeah, I really, really hope to see you, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.